Hey, I bet you're wondering what I'm doing here today.
Welcome to our vlog channel.
Well, today we're talking about stereotype, and our stereotype is that all fine art students will not be able to sustain comfortable lives.
2,000 years later.
So the origin of our stereotype actually begins with Van Gogh, the artist who created the Starry Night. During his lifetime, Van Gogh was actually not appreciated at all. He went against the norms during painting, and ever since he was 15, his family had always had financial issues. And this drove him to be a madman that we all know today. He constantly moved from country to country, searching for love and just for a purpose in life. And so Van Gogh is the first example of the starving artist where fine arts would actually not get you a successful life.
The next example of our stereotype is the French artist Paul Gauguin. He basically lived a life of poverty, and it wasn't until after his death that he actually started gaining recognition for the type of the style of art that he was
The style of art.
for the type of art he liked to create.
Well, the two things that these two artists have in common are that their work actually wasn't appreciated until after their deaths, which is why most people today consider fine arts a non-viable career in order to be successful in life, because usually your work doesn't become popular until after your death. But, you know, this is just a stereotype.
We're in the 706 up in North GA, where hot hands, their sponge and rugs are made. No doubt we've got something for ya, living in the city of Dalton, Georgia. We got a couple spots to buy the staples, FaceTime with Bob Shaw and Marla Maples. Eat some donuts while you run the loop, hit the Bradley and shoot some hoops. There's the Miracle League in AMC, the skating rink will always be peaches to me. Check out the view while you're on a hike, cheer for your team on a Friday night.
Stereotype in popular media is the show Jane the Virgin. Jane is an aspiring writer. She's also a single mom, and she faces a lot of adversity, especially within the writing community. She faces a lot of criticism from writers and publishers while she's trying to get her book out there. But in the end, she does publish her own book, and it becomes really popular. And she's an example of how local artists can rise up and be successful.
Another example would be Childish Gambino's show called Atlanta, and basically Childish Gambino plays Marks. He's a young Princeton dropout who is basically a rapper, and he's just trying to come up in the game, and it shows about like adversity young artists take and how serious they're not taken. And yeah, this is another example of in popular media.
Another example of our stereotype in popular media is the platform of SoundCloud. A lot of aspiring musicians start out on SoundCloud, but a lot of people make fun of them and they don't take them seriously. They're known as the SoundCloud rappers, but a lot of rappers do make their start from here, and they do become successful.
Apart from SoundCloud being an app that allows people to join the fine arts community, YouTube is another platform which you may have heard of, where people can film themselves or film other things and then post it online. Nowadays, there are YouTubers with over 10 million subscribers, which is over 10 million followers. But a lot of mainstream streaming companies actually don't acknowledge them. But they are starting to make some moves, such as Lily Singh, who is one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform. She's actually getting her own late night TV show, and it just shows the slow progression that mainstream media is actually starting to acknowledge these people as skillful workers. That's it. Ask questions about like fine arts careers. So like, what'd you think of art, music, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, that's why we out here, to be honest.
Oh,
What's
really?
up? Huh? Go ahead.
Even better.
Question.
The first one I'll ask is, what are your views on the stereotype that fine art students aren't going to be successful in life?
Bullshit. Mm-hmm.
All right, man, you talk about that.
Can you say bullshit?
No.
I mean, we could edit it out. Don't worry.
Actually, I think you could.
Yeah, I could edit
We'll
it.
bleep it
Don't.
out.
We'll bleep it out. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Some of the most creative, talented, thoughtful people I've met in art school, and because I went to an art school myself, so I feel like sky's the limit because it just creates a realm of creativity that most people won't, find themselves, what's the word? They don't feel comfortable, basically.
Me personally, I'm into we both are into performing arts. I actually do film. I'm an actor. I do whatever you tell me to do. I can do it when it comes to performing arts, and I think it's very therapeutic. One, people I think who aren't into performing arts, I think they're sad because I release a lot of stress doing this right here. I think I was just telling him, like I said, I love doing this. I'm not making any money. I would love to make money one day, but it's something I love to do, and I would like to consider myself, coming from inner city Atlanta, somewhat successful person. I'm not doing the arts in my field, but I do work with children. That makes me happy, and I do this on the side, which I love to do that as well. So, yeah.
I feel like art is important, not just for people that want to do art and stuff like that, but like he said, it's a way for a lot of people to just relieve stress and to be creative and to find things they didn't even know that they had within themselves. And even if they don't choose to pursue it all the way, fine arts is important because that's allowed some of the most creative minds that we look up to today to find out what they want to do.
So what are you guys' views on let's see, our media today not really appreciating SoundCloud rappers or YouTubers as like actual creative people with professional jobs?
I think that's a hard question. I think that's a very hard question.
And just art in general, then it would be easier to filter it out in social media, because I feel like social media is a hindrance because you have a lot of people that are just sheep. They're just following what they see, and they don't understand how to filter the good from the bad because they never got a chance to experience fine art on a certain level. So now when they see it, they see only what everybody else sees. They only see what's popular, and they don't know how to filter. And that's why you have some guys aren't talented, and they're making it, and they don't have any real talent, but that's social media right there for you. It's a popularity machine, so.
All right, well, that's it. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
So the stereotype that fine arts students or just people who are pursuing fine arts careers will never be successful in life has not always existed. For example, if you look back at the Greek and Roman era, dramas were actually praised for the actors that were in it, and the musical players, such as the people who could play lyres or people who could play the viola. They were praised for their time, and they were very respected people because they were people of high intellect during that time.
And as more people pursue the fine arts, people will finally start to take them seriously, and the success rate of these students will go up.
In the end, the stereotype that fine arts student will ultimately be unsuccessful was originated in history. And as exemplified by Van Gogh and as previous topics stated, stereotype is actually pretty old, but it still rejuvenates inside our growing culture. And